We'd like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park, the championship meet, running now through Florida Derby weekend, March 31st.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning. This is Racing Across America, and I am Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday morning. As usual on a Sunday, we'll take a look back at some of the stakes action from yesterday. And there were some nice stakes. Opening weekend at Oaklawn. They had a stake on Friday. We'll take a look back at that as well, but a couple yesterday. A couple of nice stakes at Gulfstream that will play into next year that, the subdivision. I always talk about the 3-year-olds on the turf. Yesterday, it was the 2-year-olds on the turf, the 2-year-old boys in the pulpit, the 2-year-old girls in the wait a while. And I would think both races will produce some runners to, again, pay attention to in that division amongst the 3-year-olds in a few weeks when the calendar changes and the 2-year-olds become 3-year-olds. So we'll look at those as well. A nice little sprint stake at Aqueduct. And we also had the Starlet. A couple of nice little stakes at Tampa, too. We'll take a look at those as they may play into stakes later on in the Tampa season, but the Starlet out in Southern California as well. So we'll look at all of that coming up. Let me remind you, however, within the next week, first of all, this is the last weekend, Toys for Tots. We're a collection point here at Capital OTB, and it's our last weekend collecting here. So you have until Monday to bring in a new unwrapped toy, drop it in our box out in the lobby area, put a smile on someone's face this Christmas season by donating to Toys for Tots right here, Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And again, this is the last couple of days, today and tomorrow, wrapping things up for our Toys for Tots collection for 2023. Coming up the end of the week, the Bounty Bet returns. It'll be Gulfstream Park. Bounty is up for grabs as usual on Friday afternoon. All you have to do is play that late pick 5 at Gulfstream. Play it with your Capital OTB bet account, and you get your shot at the Bounty. Coming up on Friday, $1,100 up for grabs. If you're the lone person to play, and again, you're just playing against other people playing via Capital OTB bet. If you're the lone person to hit that pick 5 amongst that group, you collect the $1,100 in addition to whatever you made on the pick 5. And if a number of people hit, they split up the consolation prize. But again, that's coming up Friday. Bounty Bet at Gulfstream Park. Saturday, it's a Fan Appreciation Day out at our Westgate Plaza branch in Rome. I've been out and have done a couple of Fan Appreciation Days. TV, we're not going out this next weekend. It'll just be the guys from the marketing, either Nate or Shannon will be out there. But I've gone out for a few out in the Utica, Rome area. Nice, enthusiastic fans, and hopefully we see more of the same this coming Saturday. Westgate Plaza out in Rome, Fan Appreciation Day. You get food, vouchers, PPs. There's a contest where you can win a little extra something. That's all this coming Saturday. Fan Appreciation Day out in Rome. All right, let's, I have my updated schedule here with some wild weather. Rain and wind scheduled in the Northeast this afternoon. NYRA has already adjusted their post times incrementally. The first post is still 12:20, but then they incrementally move up throughout the afternoon. So by the end of the day, they're about 15 minutes earlier than usual. The last race was supposed to go off at 4:08. It'll now go off, scheduled to go off at 3:52. So again, 16 minutes ahead, and the post times throughout the day are moving up just a little bit. So just be aware of that during the day. The post times have been adjusted, and also be aware of watching the weather and maybe adjusting your handicapping as well, not just in New York, but maybe some of the other venues also. All right, let's take a look at some of the action from yesterday. Let's kick things off taking a look at the Garland of Roses. I had this race labeled when we did the handicappers report yesterday as plenty of speed, and so I shopped for. First, I went with Headland, the 6, who I thought maybe had a stock and pounce possibility if you look down the page. But eventually, I tilted towards You Look Cold, who was a horse I thought could come off the pace if things fell apart, and it looked like that might happen. But then subsequently, a couple of the speed horses scratched, particularly Disco Ebo, who clearly had plenty of early speed. So some of the speed was taken away. You scratched down to a field of 5, and it didn't quite play out. There wasn't really the super speed duel on the front end. And in fact, one of the horses I thought would maybe stalk and pounce, Headland, really kind of had the lead for much of the trip. Hot Fudge for Linda Rice will come from off the pace, the number 7 horse. But again, it wasn't a real speed duel up front necessarily. I mean, the fractions, 21, that was pretty good, but 45, 57, it didn't really fall apart necessarily. It's just Hot Fudge, who was one of the horses who looked to have early speed, but sat third for much of the trip and then kind of grinds it out and then has to hold off a late run from Can't Hurry Love. Might come from behind horse. You Look Cold winds up running 4th in here and doesn't really make a late run. But at 3-1, Hot Fudge got it done. Kendrick Carmouche on board for the aforementioned Linda Rice. Quick turnaround. They came back in about 8 days, had run December 1st and had won an optional claimer right at Aqueduct. Stepped back into Stakes Company. This horse had tried Stakes Company earlier in the career, and in fact, very early in the career, had tried the Frazette. Didn't show much there, but was behind Echo Zulu that day. That was a couple of years ago, though. And then laid off all of 2022. Came back early this year in January, and subsequently, again, this horse had shown enough promise early in the career that only the 3rd career start, they tried the Grade 1 Frazette. So there was some promise, but obviously some problems as well. So Hot Fudge goes to the sidelines for, as I say, over a year, about close to 14 months. Comes back in January. And so far in 2023, 5 wins and 7 starts. And now a stakes victory as well. So has come back around to live up to what she had shown early in the year. As I say, a quick turnaround. Linda Rice said horse was doing well. You're always a little bit apprehensive when you do that, but the horse was doing well, and obviously doing well with the win yesterday. The chart margin winds up to be a neck, pulled away nicely from Headland, went by that one fairly easily, but did have to hold off Can't Hurry Love running 2nd, and Headland 3rd. You Look Cold, as I say, the horse I thought might make a closing effort, did not have that closing punch and wound up 4th in the field of 5. The favorite was Olga Isabel. That one wound up running last in the field. I guess I had that horse down in my mix, Olga Isabel. I wasn't quite convinced, but it was Brad Cox and Manny Frank. It was a horse that 6 times in the exact end, 7 starts. So there were things to like. I thought the race was fairly competitive, though, particularly after the scratches, and then kind of the pace scenario I was looking at had the opportunity to not play out as I thought, and it didn't exactly. So Hot Fudge does get it done on the quick turnaround for Linda Rice. And Linda Rice currently, I have it here, sitting 2nd in the standings behind Chad Brown. Chad Brown with 14, Linda Rice with 12 wins at the current Aqueduct meet. All right, let's move on now to a couple of races at Gulfstream yesterday. As I say, they will play into those subdivisions, particularly the boys, that I like quite a bit. In a few weeks, the calendar will turn, and these 2-year-olds will become 3-year-olds. and be on the turf scene. Perhaps I'll get to that in a second. But on the girls' side of things, the wait a while. I like Great Venezuela in here. The 5-horse goes off at 6-1, and as you'll see, coming into the stretch, I thought, oh, this is going to work out well. Great Venezuela against the 5-horse, and I thought it was going to gut it out here. It kind of pulls away, and at this point, you think, yep, got it. And then just gets a little short late, and Ozara, the favorite, goes by, but also disappointingly, the 6, Milliet, also goes by. But it was a good third-place finish again for Great Venezuela. I think all three of those will play next year amongst 3-year-old fillies on the turf. Ozara, again, did go off as the favorite at 4-5. For Christophe Clement, his son Miguel was in the winner's circle afterwards, kind of commenting and gave some credit to Irad Ortiz on the ride. And also had commented after the race, Ozara, Miguel said, such an impressive debut winner up at Saratoga that subsequently they went up and tried the Natalma at Woodbine. And that's kind of I was going to say early season. It's in September, but early season for developing 2-year-olds, essentially, grade 1 event. And so that's always a little bit salty, and they went up and tried it and wound up 4th in there. And Miguel kind of said, we got ambitious off the nice try, the nice win in the debut effort. Subsequently back to New York and ran 2nd in the Chelsea Flower last time, and then down to Gulfstream to get the stakes victory in the wait a while yesterday. And did it pretty convincing. Again, I thought Great Venezuela had pulled away, but when the momentum started for Ozara, you kind of could see it. Again, the number 6 who ran 2nd, also coming late, Milliet, Jack Sisterston for Cutter Racing. Horse debuted in Ireland and was a debut winner in Ireland. With that one start in Europe, comes over here and runs very well. So again, this will be one to watch on the 3-year-old filly scene on the turf next year. And as again, Great Venezuela as well, stepping into stakes company for the first time in Great Venezuela. Now 4 starts, a couple of wins, a 2nd and a 3rd. And that was the first time stretching out to 2 turns for Great Venezuela too. So watch that one going forward as well. A little bit later on in the afternoon down at Gulfstream, it was the boys. And again, this will definitely play into that subdivision I like of those 3-year-olds on the turf. And I said maybe, but probably with the winner from what was said after the race. And I like Noted, and everybody else liked Noted too. Noted went off as a 6-5 favorite. Noted was a Pletcher Rapoli runner with 5 starts, couple of wins, couple of seconds. The only off-the-board finish was last time they tried the dirt in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and were well beaten behind Fierceness. But Noted's the number 8 horse in here and is going to come up and get it done. Chart margin will be a neck ahead, a neck and a half. They were right here, but it is, as you can see under the wire, Noted getting it done. Reminder, the number 4 up second, Palm Tree runs 3rd, but it's 6-5, $4.40. Noted did get it done. Now, interesting career for Noted so far. And again, it's Pletcher and Rapoli, a son of Cairo Prince, lived up to that win early sire very early on, running 2nd at Belmont back in June, goes up to Saratoga, wins in only the 2nd career start, goes down to Monmouth. The first 2 starts on the turf, goes down to Monmouth on the dirt, wins the Sapling in the 3rd career start. Then they go back to the turf and the Bourbon at Keeneland and just miss, and then out to try the dirt at Santa Anita in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Again, they were well beaten there. But Todd Pletcher said after the race, no surprise. The next race in this kind of series will be after they become 3-year-olds, the Dania Beach, I believe, January 6th. And Todd Pletcher, liking some space between races, said probably not the Dania Beach, but we'll probably come back in the Kitten's Joy, which is 3 or 4 weeks after the Dania Beach. So there will be plenty of spacing between the races for Noted. But Todd Pletcher also said, you know what, we'll probably try the dirt again. And why not? They have a stakes win on the dirt with Noted. And you have a talented 3-year-old you're going to try. You're going to take a shot at going along that 3-year-old trail towards the Kentucky Derby until the horse maybe says not. Now, again, if you're Mike Rapoli and you have plenty of options, maybe you're just as happy to have a talented 3-year-old on the turf because, again, one of the reasons I like this subdivision is because there are spots for these 3-year-olds on the turf from early in the year until the end of the year at virtually every venue in the country. So if you have a nice 3-year-old on the turf, I think you have plenty of opportunities and you can kind of pick spots, and they're very nice, rich races as well. So again, you have a good 3-year-old, you want to try the dirt, but if you're Mike Rapoli, maybe you think, I've got somebody for the dirt. I'll stick with a talented turf runner. So we'll see where they go. The next start, it did sound like, would be the Kitten's Joy back on the turf. But again, Todd Pletcher kind of hinted that at some point they may go back and try the dirt at some point, which, as I say, would clearly not be a shock by any means. All right, let's take a look. Going back, opening day at Oaklawn on Friday. Friday's opening day stakes race was the Advent down at Oaklawn, $150,000 up for grabs for the 2-year-olds. Going a quick 5.5. I like Valentine Candy in here, 2-1 on the morning line. Valentine Candy wound up going just a tick below that at 9-5. It was Steve Asmussen. And that one will get it done. Valentine Candy is the number 10 horse. 12 Willie D's runs second, and then 7 Andy's Candy runs third in here. So you had 9-5 on top. Willie D's 67-1. I think the rank outs. No, there was a 72-1 shot. So the second longest price on the board. So Valentine Candy, who is the easiest of winners here. What is it? Charts almost 7 lengths. But Willie D's just by a head gets second at 67-1. Not bad. You gotta, if you had it, or if 10-12 is your street address, however you got it, it was nice because Valentine Candy again goes off as the 9-5 favorite. So you got $5.60 there. But with the 67-1 shot and a nice field of 11 horses. The bigger the field, the more opportunity for very nice payoffs, and you got one for $1. The exacta with a $5 horse on top. The dollar exacta, $156.10. But you had to come up with Willie D's, and it might have been able to make the case to throw that one into your mix. 30-1 on the morning line. Willie D's was a debut winner at Delaware on the turf, however, then subsequently went to the dirt and tried a stakes race and was well beaten in there. But it was over a muddy sealed track. It was at a mile. So there were things that maybe could have led you to say 67-1 off the debut win. I'll give only the third start. I'll give that one another shot. I did not use Willie D's. I did like Valentine Candy on top, but the horses I liked underneath didn't offer up a whole lot. But Valentine Candy, 5th career start, son of Justify for Steve Asmussen and the Hillenbrats. Ramon Vasquez was on board. Started the career up at Saratoga and won in the first start of the career, and they got ambitious enough off of that. They tried the hopeful. So another one that they thought, nice debut winner. Let's give this the old college try. Well beaten in the hopeful, though. They regrouped, went in an optional claimer at Keeneland and ran second. Then they tried the Bowman Mill at Keeneland and ran an okay third. And now in the 5th career start, they get the win. They get a stakes win on the resume for Valentine Candy in the Advent on Friday, opening day feature down at Oaklawn. And we'll see. I didn't read any follow-ups there, so I'm not quite sure what they have in mind. But again, this will be a nice 3-year-old going forward. They kept sprinting so far. And it's again, it's tough. Even if you feel like you have a bona fide sprinter. I mean, so far we've gone 6 furlongs 3 times, 7 furlongs once, and then 5.5 to win the Advent. So they seem pretty committed to sprinting. But again, if you have a talented 3-year-old, I think at some point you just early in the season you feel almost obligated to stretch out. But we'll see. Sometimes owners and trainers can get completely realistic and keep them sprinting, but more often than not they'll try. So we'll see what the game plan will be going forward for Valentine's Candy. Saturday, yesterday, 2 stakes at Oaklawn. Talked with Nancy Holthus about these. And when we talked about the Ring the Bell, we did mention that refers to the nice program they have down there. And Nancy said they've now brought it to Tampa. I have not seen, I haven't watched specifically, but I said, man, we have a bell in the winner's circle at Saratoga. It'd be fun to do there. But they've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, a couple of years, going back to last year, maybe the year before. After a race, after Connections win a race, I'm not even, it may be any connection, just as you're unsaddling your horse, but certainly the winners. There's a bell in the winner's circle at Oaklawn, and if you ring the bell, it signifies you're committed to donating to their aftercare program down there. So I think it's kind of a fun idea. But they named a race after the program. The Ring the Bell yesterday. I asked the guys to pull up this on the far turn because I like Tejano Twist. Tejano Twist is going to be the number 6 horse who is not in the picture, coming from, up atop of the picture, coming from the back of the pack. Look at this acceleration. Splits horses there and then gets to swing outside a little bit. And when he straightens out, man, he puts on the after. This was just a huge move from the back of the pack. Tejano Twist under Chris Landeros gets it done. It's Chris Hartman training, and after the race, he stated the he said, wow, that was a pretty good turn of foot. You ain't kidding. 5-length winner, but more importantly, maybe for Chris Hartman, and for me, I had him 1-2, Necker Island. I was kind of surprised. I thought Necker Island was clearly a player in here, and Nancy mentioned it yesterday. They're both Chris Hartman runners. They were sitting next to each other, 5 and 6 in the starting gate, and they're both millionaires. And so I had Tejano Twist and Necker Island 1-2. I was a little bit shocked that they came back. You got $31 and change on the exact. And Necker Island, Tejano Twist went off as the favorite. You got $4.40, but Necker Island was 13-1. So added a little bit of value to that play in there. Rivet coming out of the win in the Steel Valley Sprint, the Rich race at Mahoning. A little bit disappointing as the second choice at 2-1 ran 5th in there. Caddo River for Wayne Lucas 6th. It was Tejano Twist, Necker Island, and running 3rd was Sir Wellington. And I'll tip my hat to Nancy Holthus. That one went off at 11-1. And Nancy said, Sir Wellington might be an interesting long shot play. Went off at 11-1 and completed the try. If folks threw it in for the try, for 50 cents, you got $57 for the try. So that's not bad either. So again, Tejano Twist. Chris Hartman came out of this and said, Tejano Twist will probably stick to the sprint series down there at Oaklawn. Oaklawn now with their meet, boy, they have a nice series really in multiple divisions, and that includes the sprinters. So he said Tejano Twist will probably stick to the sprint division. He said Necker Island might stretch out. They have some mile races down there, and Necker Island might stretch out and try those. I tried those in the past, and I believe has a win at a mile. So we'll see. May split those up, which makes sense. I mean, if you got 2 good horses, it's fun to run 1-2 for that was a purse 150,000. So over 100,000 there, but it's different owners, and so you have to then explain that to them as well. So it's, on the owner side of things, it probably makes sense to look in other directions if you have 2 that are very good. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, Tejano Twist will look for in that sprint series down there. Off just wow, it was a huge effort yesterday from the far turn on. Mistletoe was the second stake on the card yesterday. Fillies and Mares, 3-year-olds and up. going a mile, and it's going to be Butterbean. I did not use Butterbean. Butterbean's going to be the number 11 horse. Julian Lepereau on board. I used Misty Vale. Now, subsequently, there was a disqualification from fourth, and Misty Vale was a little bit involved in that. Misty Vale's the number 2 horse, and you can see Misty Vale is running well, just is going to get edged here. Misty Vale went off as the second choice at 5-2. The 5-2 favorite was Ice Orchid, the 10, who ran third there. But coming late and going by both of them at 11-1 was Butterbean. Butterbean, Ken McPeak trainee, had tried a stakes race last time at Presque Isle on the synthetic, didn't show much. Was in the Iowa Distaff at Prairie Meadows before that, and was a well-beaten fourth. Had won a small stake at Prairie Meadows 3 starts back, so probably deserved at the 11-1 price, 20-1 on the morning line. That all said, had shown some ability in the past. I mean, you look down the PPs, there were some races you might have made a case for. For me, it would have been a little tough, particularly off the last couple, but gets the nice late run and does get it done. As I say, Julian Lepereau on board. The mistletoe yesterday going to Butterbean. I was happy with the run from Misty Vale, but again, there was a DQ, and it happened, got disqualified from 4th to 8th. So, again, it affected superfecta players in there. And as I say, the Misty Vale was maybe a little bit involved there. So I don't know if it was enough to change things up necessarily. But as I say, I was happy with the run from Misty Vale. Just Butterbean was going a little bit better at the end. All right, and let me grab my PPs for Tampa because there was a couple of nice stakes at Tampa as well. I like to show these Tampa stakes because they potentially play in Tampa stakes. Moving along later in the season, the Marion County, we are looking at runners going 7 furlongs on the dirt here. And the favorite, no surprise, at 3-5, Dean Delivers, who has had a nice career, has put quite a bit of money in the bank. 2 starts back, a decent third behind Elite Power and Conite in the Vanderbilt. You run third to those 2, that's not bad. Dean Delivers is the number 5 horse, and Dean Delivers is going to wind up second in here. That's the wrong race. Did I call for the wrong race? Oh, that's the next race. That's the City of Ocala. The Dean Delivers was in the 6th. But it's going to be Shaq Diesel getting it done at 9-2 by a nose over Dean Delivers. Dean Delivers, again, went off at 3-5. So a little bit disappointing, but if you had Shaq Diesel, I don't know if it's the second choice, I don't know if it's actually the third choice, Shaq Diesel. That one going out for David Fox. Joe Bravo in for the ride. And again, Joe Bravo, who had been out in Southern California the last few seasons, noted that he was going to move east now, mostly Gulfstream, but as a lot of these guys do, boom, they'll pop over and visit Tampa when the occasion arises. And Joe Bravo picks up the win in the Marion County on Shaq Diesel. Dean Delivers, again, a little bit disappointing at 3-5. Clearly second and just got nosed out, but does wind up second. Big Martini winds up third in there. Now we'll take a look at the City of Ocala, race number 7. And in here was Bluefeld, the number 2, as the favorite. Sammy Camacho on board for Safi Joseph, and Bluefeld at 9-5 does get it done in here with a nice little late run. Dream Concert, the second choice at 2-1. Looked pretty good at about the 8th pole, but you can see the momentum and just the stride. Boom, Dream Concert wins by a neck. They're 4 some ahead of Atomically, and Atomically is that horse who, boy, early in the career had really shown a lot of promise about this time last year. And as Atomically got to the 3-year-old season, it didn't quite live up to that. And again, the third yesterday kind of continued the fact that Atomically hasn't kind of proven to be a 3-year-old that we were hoping for when looking early in his 2-year-old season. But Bluefeld does get it done as the favorite. Prior to yesterday, had run 4th in the Princess Rooney, a little 2nd in a stake at Prairie Meadow before that. And again, as a Safi Joseph trainee, was 8-5 on the morning line, was 9-5 as the favorite going off yesterday and got it done. Finally, let's take a look at the starlet yesterday from Los Al, a field of 6. These are 2-year-old fillies traveling 1 1/16 miles at Los Alamitos. Bob Baffert seems to have a stranglehold on this race, and it continued yesterday. It was nothing like you getting it done at 2-1 for Bob Baffert. His 7th straight starlet victory. That's kind of domination in a race. Number 4, Great 40 is going to run 2nd, but that one is going to get disqualified from 2nd to 4th. You can see some action there, but not affecting the winner at all. She was out in front and extended things and won pretty easily under Juan Hernandez, 7th consecutive starlet. And, the game plan clearly would be to keep her on that 3-year-old filly road out in Southern California. But again, the road is typically, let's wind up at the Kentucky Oaks. Baffert trainee, we'll see. Will the horse go somewhere else, or will they just say, we're okay, not trying the Oaks? There are plenty of other opportunities. We'll put the jewel of Saratoga, maybe the Alabama, on our radar and just stay in the Baffert barn and pick our spots otherwise. But we'll have to see how that plays out. There's still some time for them to make those kind of decisions, but certainly looked good yesterday. Nothing Like You, that was a win number 3 and start number 6. Had also won the Desi Arnaz out at Del Mar in start number 5. So took a while to break the maiden, took 4 starts to break the maiden, but once the maiden was broken, has now put 2 stakes races back to back. So she is clearly one of those that kind of needed some experience, light bulb moment, boom, move forward. Now has won the last 3, including a couple of stakes. Nothing Like You in the starlet. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I think we'll do a little handicapping, and then a little bit later on, we have a few tape pieces to take a look at as well on this Sunday morning. Racing Across America. Seth Merrow in the studio again. Always appreciate your tuning in. Stay tuned, because after the break, again, we'll give you some ideas for this afternoon as we will be back in an hour and a half or so with OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. And again, I will note that for folks who weren't tuned in at the top of the show, they have already announced they're speeding up post times a little bit. The East Coast is getting a little bit of weather, including right here in our area, with some rain and some winds expected and whatnot. So at Aqueduct, they've already announced first post still 12:20, but by the end of the day, they'll be about 15 or 16 minutes ahead. So just keep that in mind. But for now, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at some of the action on this Sunday afternoon. Stay tuned.
And they're off in the Pegasus World Cup. They're off in the Fountain of Youth Stakes. And they're off in the Curlin Florida Derby. Forte wins. White Arboreal almost home.
And Nyquist is still unbeaten. Orb and John Velasquez have won the Florida Derby.
Barbaro wins.
And there you have it. Northern Dancer will be the winner of the Florida Derby.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest. and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. A little handicapping now. With the expected weather at Aqueduct, I'll pull out and take a look at the Lake Pick 5 at Gulfstream. And again, we don't have scratches yet. I'm not putting a ticket together, but just go through the sequence, toss out some ideas. The Lake Pick 5 at Gulfstream starts with race 7, 5 furlongs on the synthetic. For 2-year-olds, I think it's a fun little race. 5, 3, 7, and 2. I'm going to put McVicker on top. World of Trouble is sire who's become, over the last really couple of months maybe, an interesting sire to me of win early types. This one lived up to it with a win in the second career start at Horseshoe Indy. First 2 starts were on the turf. That typically translates okay to the synthetic. So moves in for a tag today. I think McVicker at 6-1 is interesting. Hermoso Hombre in the second spot off a debut win. Sky Mesa is one of those sires. And lately, sometimes sires, early in their sire career are hot, or a couple of years later than that are kind of under the radar. As you get further away from the beginning of the career, they maybe cool off a little bit. And Sky Mesa is maybe in that camp. I have to look up his numbers this year with first-time starters, which will give an indication. But again, the point being, you go back not too far, he was one to watch and lived up to that. This one won in the career debut, won in a fine fashion, and comes back in a group that I think is going to fit nicely with. The debut win was under a 10-pound apprentice. That's impressive. Gets Lionel Reyes today, a nice journeyman jockey. And then Mayhem in the Palace in the third spot. Did he place a runner? Won in the second career start and got a little experience at this level last time. So in the 7th at Gulfstream, 5, 3, 7, and 2. 8th race at Gulfstream this afternoon. More 2-year-olds, 2-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf. I have it 5, 4, 8, and 9. I'm going to put Mama Bella on top. An Offspring of Violence, a sire I like very much with win early types. This one did not live up to it in the debut, but did show a little punch before fading towards the end. I think with that one under the belt, I would not be surprised to see a nice improved effort. We're getting 15-1. I'm curious. This horse went off at 4-1, so it took a little action in the debut. I'm curious if that 15-1 will hold up. I'm perfectly happy if it does. I'm just thinking, this horse seems better than that. Creval de Oro in the second spot, down from Woodbine for Mark Casse. Off 3 very good efforts. This one's 9-2. That one seems generous. Now, that said, this is, at this point, again, before having seen any scratches, this is a 12-horse field with a string of also eligibles that will help it hold up to a nice full field. So you're going to get a favorite that is going to be, lukewarm. So 9-2, I think, is the morning line favorite. There's a 7-2 on the AE list. But I think, again, with the field size and given the way this field looks, you probably will get good prices top to bottom. So Creval de Oro seems legit, and Roscoe Village, another horse with some experience under the belt, started the career at Gulfstream and then went out to Del Mar this summer. And the Del Mar races seem to indicate the horse is kind of figuring it out and improving, and I think she'll be okay. Pendulum for Brendan Walsh, I think, can also be a player in the third career start. And as I say, I think with a nice full field, full kind of competitive field, you get some value in here. The 8th looks like a fun one to play around with. I have it 5, 4, 8, and 9. 9th race at Gulfstream. They're back on the Topita. State-bred optional claimers. Non-winners are one other than 3, 7, 6, and 1 for me in the 9th at Gulfstream. Happy is as happy does. Lightly raced runner, but has shown some real promise so far. A couple of starts up at Presque Isle, a second in debut, and a nice win in the second start. Then comes down to Gulfstream, stretches out, and runs an okay fourth in the first try around 2 turns. And sometimes the 2 turns is them figuring it out. And it seems like that's the case because the next start of 2 turns just missed. So I think happy is as happy does is logical in here. Back chat in the second spot. off a couple of nice closing tries in the last two starts in similar events right here at Gulfstream. So it's been right in the hunt in two very similar races. I would expect the same today, and this horse will be heard from in the stretch under Edgar Zayas. Ernesto in the third spot. Comebacker, there was an April to September layoff. The comebacker was a pretty good win. Now, it was down at the bottom, conditional level, moved into this level in the last two and hasn't been quite as productive and has been behind my top two in both of those efforts. But I thought the number was moving forward in the past two starts, and I thought if that could continue, this horse could be a little bit of a player at 10-1. In the ninth at Gulfstream, 3, 7, 6, and 1. 10th race at Gulfstream on Sunday afternoon. B condition claimers going 7, 8, 4, 7, and 2. I'm going to put Game Boy Benny on top. Claimed last time out of a state bred optional claimer, so probably a little bit saltier. The starts 2 and 3 back were similar. They were pretty good. I just thought the last effort with the number thrown, if we get back to that, again, will we get that with the move into the new barn? That is the question mark. But I think if the form can hold, Game Boy Benny is a logical player. If you're looking for an alternative, though, having the question mark off the claim, 5.56 champ goes out for Elizabeth Douglas off a couple of okay tries with front end runs and then just faded a little bit. But you just never know when they're going to keep going. And I think with a little half step down the claiming ladder from last time, today may be the day where he does keep going a little bit. So that one's playable. And Sagno di Campione, I'm sure I was not close. I'm guessing I was close, but that's about it with the pronunciation there. Coming down from the synthetic at Presque Isle, moves to the dirt, though, at Gulfstream. But you go down the page, has good dirt races. And I think you look down the page at the dirt races, I think is a clever fit in here today. So the 10th at Gulfstream, 8, 4, 7, and 2. And finally at Gulfstream, we wrap it up in the 11th this afternoon. We'll go off a little bit after 5 p.m. Maiden 25 claimers going a mile on the grass. And again, I haven't seen scratches yet, so I have one in here that's on the AE list. I have a 12, 11, 6, and 14. 14 is going to need a little help getting in. But 12 is Go G, goes out first time for Antonio Sano. Flame Away, another one of those sires that over the past 2 or 3 months has started to really be on my radar as one to watch with win early type. So just on that and the 15-1 price, I'm going to take a little shot with Go G. Hot and Lucky has experience for Riley Mott in the last couple of starts, seemed to indicate this one should be a player, particularly with the extra step down the claiming ladder. And Dixie Preach in the third spot, moves over to the turf by Mohamed, another one moving down a little bit off the latest effort. It tried this company earlier. But again, on the dirt and sprinting, the 2 turns on the turf might make this one at least intriguing at a price this afternoon in the 11th and final at Gulfstream, 12, 11, 6, and the 14 if that one manages to get in. So again, there are some ideas for this afternoon, the late pick 5 at Gulfstream, and we'll be back in this afternoon, of course, looking at that live as well. But in the meantime, we'll take a little break. When we come back, I have some tape pieces to toss out there that one of them has been in my camera for a while, but the other 2 I just went out and did a little shooting just the past week or so. Maybe give you some holiday ideas there. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll take a look at those. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Gulfstream Park's championship meet brings world-class thoroughbred racing to South Florida each winter, and it's a prime reason to offer the best turf racing possible. Having the best surfaces is the key to offering a superior racing product. We are committed to attracting the world's best horses, trainers, and jockeys to run over our exceptional course. Gulfstream Park's new turf course will be unveiled this December.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now. Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, some tape pieces, and I said one had been on my camera for a while. If you might remember, if you were watching back in October, we had an OTB Live on the road. We went out to Finger Lakes, had a great time out there. It was October. You'll see in the video, everybody was wearing shorts. A lot of people were wearing shorts. It had to be in the 70s, certainly. May have been flirting with 80. It was a gorgeous day. And we were out there just visiting and doing live cut-ins throughout the afternoon. But at one point, I had my camera out there, and so at one point I walked around the facility just to kind of put something together for folks who have never been there, to let you see what Finger Lakes looks like, and some of the seating areas and bedding areas and paddock. And you'll see I went up to the booth and recorded Tony Kalo with a call. You'll see Dave Mattice, their handicapper, out by the paddock, doing a little pre-race commentary. Todd Height, there's a clip of me doing one of our cut-ins. I was interviewing Todd Height, their director of racing. But as I say, it's just to kind of give you an idea, if you've never been there, what Finger Lakes is. About a minute and a half or so, just a quick little look and a tour. And as I say, I've had the raw footage in the camera for a while now, but last couple of days I sat down and stitched it all together. So here we go from October and our OTB Live on the road visit to the Finger Lakes. Here's a little footage to give you a tour of the facility.
Speaker will be the last one to load. She is 24 to 1 in the week. Stars Delighted 2 to 1, My Sweet Summer 5 to 2. And there they go. Much better start this afternoon for My Sweet Summer. Definitely not that quickly away. Stars Delight is the quickest. In the second spot, Mommy Joe Dreams with Tumbles, and also there with them is My Sweet Summer from the far outside. Go to Star Speaker. Devilly tries to make up ground after the awkward beginning, and at the back is Batty Surprise. Stars Delight with the killer crossover, a length and a half to Bobby Joe Dreams. Tumbles from the rail, My Sweet Summer 3 deep. Devilly has the white silks in the two path. Will have to overcome some traffic just to bide her time. Here's Star Speaker advancing with her wide run, and at the back is Batty Surprise. So Stars Delight has the lead. My Sweet Summer makes her run. Star Speaker outrunning her odds. I'm going to Mommy Joe Dreams. Tough trip so far for Devilly. Never been able to lengthen that stride. In the lane, Stars Delight. Stars Delight has the lead at the 3/16. Repelling the bit of My Sweet Summer and Star Speaker. And further out is Mommy Joe Dreams. Stars Delight. My Sweet Summer continues. Here's Mommy Joe Dreams picking up her best stride. Stars Delight tends to her business. Mommy Joe Dreams late on the scene. Stars Delight. Stars Delight for Mommy Joe Dreams. Tumbles and a big number for third. Then My Sweet Summer fourth for the Superfecta.
And again, just to give you an idea of the facility, if you've never been out there, I will admit my first visit, we went out for an OTB Live a couple of years, might have been before the pandemic actually. So, but we did an OTB Live a few years ago, and that was my first visit out there. And I was kind of shocked at how easy the trip is. You essentially get on the thruway, and I've forgotten what exit it is, but you can type that into your Google Maps and it'll tell you what exit. And then it's 5 minutes from the thruway exit, maybe 10. But it's a very easy drive. If you're hanging around someday and thinking, I'd love to see some live racing, put that on the agenda for next year at the Finger Lakes. And I've said many times, if you plan it right and maybe get an inexpensive motel, a couple of nights, various places, you can visit a few tracks very easily. I've said that trip out we make to Woodbine is easy. That's a fun track to visit. So you can do a little Woodbine. You could plug in Fort Erie if you plan it correctly, and then some Finger Lakes. Presque Isle probably could be put into that. So again, a little planning, and you can visit go to the Buffalo area harness tracks. You could make a nice little trip of it over a couple of days. As I say, if you just plan it out nicely. But Finger Lakes, as I say, a very easy drive up the thruway. Nice facility, a lot of fun. We appreciated the hospitality they had for us in October. And as I said, I got a couple more quick videos that I actually shot this week. Our friends at Impressions of Saratoga and the Dark Horse Mercantile, Marianne Barker and Maddie Zanetti, the owners there. If you watch, they've sponsored the Dark Horse Play of the Day at Saratoga the past 2 years. And then this year they did a couple of weeks sponsoring Dark Horse, kind of leading into the Breeders' Cup as well. And when I went to get the paperwork for their Breeders' Cup sponsorship, I said to them, I'm going to stop in before the holidays and just shoot a little bit and alert people, because they're two great places. If you're kind of like, I got some people on my list, I'm not sure. Impressions of Saratoga and the Dark Horse Mercantile, both you will find something. I've said it many times. And I know from the feedback I've gotten, as I say, during the summer, go down and visit. And then I run into people who are like, hey, I went, stopped at Impressions, stopped at Dark Horse, had a great time. You can just browse around. They're both on Broadway and Saratoga, a few blocks away from each other. But I asked both Marianne and Maddie to talk a little bit about downtown Saratoga, because that's also a great place to shop a little bit during the season as well. But I just wanted to give you some thoughts, and we'll start with Impressions of Saratoga and Marianne Barker down there. And again, I was just in earlier this week and took some shots of the merchandise and whatnot, just to give you an idea of if you're out shopping for Christmas and you're looking for things, these are two great places to stop. So first up, a little visit to Impressions of Saratoga.
Our hours currently are Monday through Thursday, 10 to 6, Friday, Saturdays, 10 to 8, Sundays, 10 to 6. The last week before Christmas, we will be extending those hours a little further, but right now that's what they are. So we're here 7 days a week. We have gifts for kids, adults. If you like horses, whether they're race horses or just horses, we have lots of equestrian themed gifts. We also have a lot of traditional holiday decorations and things like that. And of course, what we're known for is our souvenirs. We have great Saratoga souvenirs, shirts and stuff especially. That's kind of the basis of our business. So we have lots of shirts and polos and really nice fleeces and barber and everything under the sun. Oh, well, the peppermint pig. Tradition has it that you get this peppermint pig, and it looks like this here. It's a nice, solid peppermint pig that you put in a red pouch that looks like that. And then you whack it with a little hammer. You pass it around the table, and everybody takes a whack at it and breaks it into pieces. And you share a wish or a hope or a memory. And then at the end, everybody passes it back around the table and takes a piece for good luck. So this is a very traditional Saratoga product. And we have all different sizes, and they're delicious. Super Victorian tradition of Saratoga. So what we've done this year is Maddie and I both have elderly family members. Mine's in a nursing home. Maddie's grandma just passed away. So we decided this year, but in addition to doing all the things we do for animals and kids and the community, we would do a fundraiser, Adopt a Grandparent. We're specifically with Wesley this year. They have about 350 residents up there in memory care and also in the healthcare wards and whatnot that don't get visitors. So what we're doing is, for a $20 sponsorship, you fill out a little tag that looks like this, and we're going to attach each one of these to a gift bag that we're going to be purchasing to supply to the residents that don't have family. So we're going to start that actually for Hanukkah next week, because there are some residents that do that. And then the rest will be delivered up to Wesley in time for Christmas. And Christmas morning, the staff will choose who to give them to, because they'll by then know who's got family and who doesn't to visit. We have a beautiful downtown. It's all dressed up. We just came off our Victorian Street Walk, which is a huge event. Lots of stores have little, hot cider, hot cocoa, treats. But more than that, we're just a lot of independent stores that offer things you're not going to find in the malls, you're not going to find online, and you're not going to find it with the great service that we like to all think that we can give. And we also do free gift wrapping and, lots of little extras you're not going to get if you just go to a big box. We're online 24/7, impressionssaratoga.com. Lots of things on there that are offered. But if you are looking for something you can't find there, give us a holler or send us an email and we'll do our best to scout it out for you.
Apologies for the not synchronized sound there. I'm not sure what happened, but you got the idea. If you stop down, lots of just great items there and impressions, and we'll tee up now. Went over to Dark Horse as well and talked to Maddie Zanetti about Dark Horse. So we'll give you a look at some of what they have to offer as well. Dark Horse Mercantile, just down the street from Impressions of Saratoga.
Open every day from 10 to 6, and we're hoping to extend the hours closer to the holiday. But if you need anything, we are online 24 hours a day, and you can always give us a call, 518-587-0689. And we carry barber merchandise as well as gifts, souvenirs, home decor, and memorabilia. Yeah, so the Dark Horse, we have an established date of 1919, the year that Upset beat Man of War here in Saratoga at the Sanford Stakes. And we like to celebrate overcoming the odds when you are the long shot. So we feature all of our merchandise has our horse on there, which is Upset, the horse that beat Man of War, with a little bit of artistic license that we added to it. And we wanted to be an iconic brand that when you think of overcoming the odds in Saratoga, you think of the Dark Horse. We are so lucky. Our downtown is such a gem. Not only do we have a ton of great restaurants to eat at while you're down here shopping, but there are so many boutiques and small gift shops that have really unique things. We've got a great toy store if you've got a bunch of kids on your list. And we even have Santa's Cottage here. And Santa's in his cottage every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up until Christmas Eve when he's got to go out on his sled. So if you are downtown shopping, not only do you have the festive spirit from all of the downtown businesses, but you can meet Santa and see our giant Christmas tree that was lit last week at the Victorian Street Walk.
And again, apologies for the synchronization on the sound. I'm not sure what happened there. But again, you get the idea. Lots of great items if you're shopping for the holidays. Impressions of Saratoga, the Dark Horse Mercantile. Stop by. You'll be happy you did. Tell them you saw them here. I know a lot of people during the summer do because I get the feedback from Marianne and Maddie. And their staff is great, too. If you stop in, they always have very friendly people. And I've heard from all of them that folks stop in during the summer and say, hey, we saw you guys on TV and stopped in. And as I say, then I get feedback from people who have visited, and they're happy they went. You can browse for a long time in both places and have a lot of fun. And as they say, if you're looking for some gifts for the holiday season, two great spots to do it. Impressions of Saratoga, and just down the street, their sister store, the Dark Horse Mercantile. And as I had Marianne and Maddie talk, for folks who maybe don't visit Saratoga often or enough, Saratoga downtown is a great place just to shop for the holidays too. Lots of nice shops, businesses, but great restaurants too if you want to go and spend the day and grab some lunch or some dinner down there. And I am getting nothing from the Chamber of Commerce, but I live in the area and I spend a lot of time in the Saratoga area. And I think, downtowns, when I was a kid, downtown was downtown, and then they went out of fashion. I think some have been revitalized, but Saratoga is really a great downtown area with really a couple of blocks off of Broadway as well, as I say, with shops and restaurants and whatnot. So keep it in mind for the holidays, along with Impressions and Dark Horse. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to kick things off momentarily, it looks like, with the pregame show for Aqueduct. And again, with some weather expected here, northeast, they have sped up their post times. First post will still be 12:20, and they're going incrementally. By the end of the day, they'll be about 15 minutes ahead down at Aqueduct. But, keep your eyes on that, and also keep your eyes on the fact that there will potentially be some weather that you'll have to factor into your handicapping. We'll, do that as the afternoon goes along on OTB Live, and I'll be back in about an hour or so, OTB Live, for a Sunday afternoon, as we will look at Aqueduct and Gulfstream. So looking forward to it. Hopefully you are as well, but we'll wrap it up for Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. I do want to remind you once again, we are winding up Toys for Tots today and tomorrow. Last couple of days, you can drop off your toys. New unwrapped toys, drop them off here at the Clubhouse Racebook. We have a Toys for Tots box in our lobby area today and tomorrow, last couple of days for the drop-off here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Friday, the Bounty Bet returns. It'll be Gulfstream Park, the late pick 5, $1,100 up for grabs in the Bounty coming up on Friday. And Saturday, again, if you're out in the Rome area, if you just like to go out and have a little visit out there and maybe play the contest, Fan Appreciation Day, Westgate Plaza Branch in Rome, New York. That's Saturday afternoon, Fan Appreciation Day. Seth Merrow, racing across America for a Sunday morning. We'll wrap it up, and as promised, back in about an hour or so for OTB Live on a Sunday afternoon. We'll see you then. We'd like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park, the championship meet, running now through Florida Derby weekend, March 31st.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.